Hey there, welcome back to Throne FC. Since we're in the transfer season and everybody is excited about new signings, I've decided to freshen up your memory on why sometimes the most expensive deals don't necessarily guarantee the best results. Today, we're exploring the players who have left the biggest financial impact in the transfer market, the 10 most expensive players of all time. It doesn't matter if it took 1, 2 or 10 transfers. These footballers stand tall above everyone else when it comes to moving money. Now the question stands, were they worth it? Let's find out, starting out with number 10, the Swedish Lion, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The Lion among humans has spent his career moving from club to club across multiple leagues in Europe. If I were to define his trajectory, I would say he's the elite journeyman. The fact of the matter is, Ibra has made every penny spent on him worth it, as he always delivered, whether it was in Italy winning multiple Serie A titles with the 3 biggest clubs, in France building a legacy for a club with no history, or in England showing that he can indeed do it in a cold rainy night in Stoke. In my opinion, Zlatan would be higher on this list if he started his career a couple of years later when the market had already inflated. It's like I told you in the intro, more money isn't equal to better quality. If you stick around until the end, you'll realize you'd probably want Ibra over the first place in this list. But hey, you'll tell me in the comments when you get there. Moving on to number 9, we have a World Cup winner, Usman Dembele. This man doesn't get the credit he deserves. Yes, he's as fragile as glass, but when he's fit, man, he's absolutely world class. Dembele burst onto the scene with Rennes and imposed himself while playing with Borussia. The pacey winger was then signed by Barca in exchange for £121.5 million, and it's debatable if he was worth it or not. He has spent much of his career on the sidelines, having missed 107 matches due to injury since he joined Barca in 2018. That's a lot, no doubt, but if you look at his start of the past season, you'll see that he's indeed one of the best one-on-one players in the world, and that he can be a difference maker in this Barca team. It's not like he's that old, so I believe he can still add a lot to his club and country. Continuing on with one of the most underrated players of all time, Angel Di Maria. Di Maria has been a silent hero throughout most of his career. Everywhere he goes, the man shines and proves himself as absolutely fundamental to their teams. Let's just forget about this season. But the thing is that he's never seen as a star. Not even when he was a breakthrough talent with Benfica, even then the stars of the team were Cardoso and Neymar. I mean, just look at his time with Real. He never disappointed, but was still given the boot to welcome James Rodriguez. It's safe to say that Los Merengues probably regretted their decision. Now at 35 years old, Di Maria is finally being given his flowers. He won the World Cup with Argentina, pretty much everyone values his importance in the teams he has played, and at the time I'm making this video, he's close to joining Benfica, the club that opened the doors for his biggest career achievements. I think it's safe to say he was worth all the investment. At number 7, we got the youngest sports director of all time, Kylian Mbappe. He just needed one transfer to make this list, and although I laugh at his role in PSG, I believe that he's as good as people hype him to be. He was the shining talisman that guided France to the World Cup title 20 years later and almost single-handedly won the World Cup by himself in 2022. It's questionable if the career path that he's chosen is the best to squeeze his potential, but it's undeniable that PSG would be worse without him. He's the club's top goalscorer at 24 years old, and if he leaves PSG this summer, I'm sure he'll probably top this list or at least reach top 3. Mbappe is that good, and I hope they can continue evolving so that the next generation can have a similar rivalry to the one I had. Continuing on with his compatriot, Antoine Griezmann. This man in 2016 was something else. Griezmann was at an elite level, and for a while his performances were at both Messi and Ronaldo's level. He managed to almost win the Euros and Champions League, but to his dismay, he always fell short against the same man. He continued to be a great player and even won the World Cup with France, but it was never really the same thing after 2016. Griezmann would get his dream move to Barcelona, but he never fulfilled the enormous expectations that the Blaugrana had, and nowadays he's back with Atletico. But somehow, against all odds, Griezmann became a key player for Los Colchoneros and was arguably the best player of last year's La Liga edition. This summer, his future is uncertain, with moves to Al Nassr and PSG on the table that could move him up even higher on this list. Now from a bad transfer to Barcelona to a terrible one, we meet Philippe Coutinho. Picture this, you leave your current club because you dream of winning the Champions League and believe that's impossible where you're currently at. Then you find a club who's willing to spend whatever it takes to get you, but you flop massively and get eliminated from the Champions League by the same team you left in order to win the competition. You watch them win the most important title in club football before being sent packing on loan. Your next destination? Bayern Munich. And after a pause in club football due to a pandemic, you face your former team Barcelona, and now Bayern smashed them 8-2 before finally realizing your dream. And even though you contributed to perhaps the biggest humiliation in the club's history and sunk them financially in the process, they still give you another chance. Guess what happens next? You flop again and are sent to Aston Villa. Ladies and gentlemen, the 5th most expensive player of all time, the Barca wrecker, Philippe Coutinho. Okay, I know you Barca fans are gonna destroy the dislike button for this, but you gotta admit, it's funny from an outside perspective. At number 4, we have a man that has originated one of the most iconic conspiracy theories of all time, Alvaro Morata. It's no surprise people think that Morata is just a pawn in a money laundering scheme, since he looks completely out of depth in his list. Morata was never world class, he's a reliable striker, but never one that can score more than 20 goals a season. Still, the top European clubs seem eager to grab a hold of him every transfer season. Don't you think that's strange? He has 2 Champions League titles and has played with Juve, Chelsea, Atletico and Real. And to make it worse, he always finds a way to return to old clubs, even though he never leaves a great impression. Nowadays, Morata is the number 1 striker for both Spain and Atletico, but to be honest, both outfits have seen better days. He'll probably spend one more season with Atletico before somehow something team pays another £20 million for him. Moving on to the podium, we got undoubtedly the best player in this video, Cristiano Ronaldo. If there's anyone that absolutely deserves every penny spent on him, it's this man. There are a few things that I can tell you about this man that you don't know already, but perhaps the most relevant here is how iconic and groundbreaking his transfer to Real Madrid was. Los Blancos broke the transfer record fee, paying over £84 million to Man United to finalize the transfer saga that dragged on for almost 2 years. And when that finally happened, it was as big as everyone hoped it would be. 75,000 merengues were present in their stadium to watch the presentation of a modern day icon, and after 9 years in the Spanish capital, I believe we can all say that the money was worth it. If we think about the £105 million Juve spent on him though, that can be left for debate in another video. At number 2 we have the player who broke the transfer market, Neymar Jr. Gone are the days where everyone expected Neymar to be the next Ballon d'Or winner after Messi and Ronaldo. Even though the purpose of his move to PSG was to get out of Messi's shadow and win the Ballon d'Or, the Brazilian never really came close to it again. In fact, his levels have massively dropped ever since he joined PSG. However, we can't forget how iconic he was with Santos as perhaps the best wonderkid of all time, and with Barca, where he lit the world on fire along Suarez and Messi. It's just sad that just like many other Brazilian players before him, Neymar got carried away by controversies from outside the footballing world. The Brazilian will go down in history as an iconic and fun to watch player, but at the same time as one of the biggest what-ifs in the history of our sport. And now, to close out our list, I'll give you the most expensive player of all time, Romelu Lukaku. I told you in the beginning, you would probably prefer to have Ibra in your squad than Lukaku. But hey, I'm sure many of you will disagree since Lukaku is one of the most polarizing figures in football. Some people love his physical style of play, some people think that having a 3 up front would be the same. Either way, this man has made football clubs splurge their cash on him 7 times, while Chelsea has fallen victim twice, perhaps getting the worst performances out of every club Lukaku has been on. In my opinion, we've seen the best of Lukaku in his first stint with Inter, where he guided them to Serie A glory, but this year he wasn't quite on that level. I'm really curious to see where he goes next, as I'm sure another club won't have any issues in continuing to pump more money into Lukaku of course. And that is it. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up so I know you want to see more content like this. And as always, don't forget to subscribe in order for me to grow and for you not to miss another interesting football video. Thanks for watching till the end, I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.